I'm testing that audio, testing that audio. Yeah, I'm testing that audio, testing that audio. Okay, we caking. Mm-hmm. Ooh, we caking. Oh, okay. Chat's working. Yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. I sees it. No, but seriously, I see it. Seriously though. I see it. Yeah, we here. We're about to go live. We got a hockey game on tonight. Yeah, we about to go live. We got a hockey game tonight. Yeah, we about to go live. We got a hockey game tonight. Yeah, we about to go live. We got a hockey game tonight. Who? What? Who's going live right now? Who's going live right now? Who's going live right now? Who's going live? Who's going live right now? Who's going live right now? I said, I'm going live right now. I got my microphone all tested. Oof, cold Bruce Gibraltar. A cold Gibraltar. I like cold Gibraltars. I like a Gibraltar. What did you say when we left at the altar? One fire. I've never been Earth Dam in my life. Thank you. Hmm. How many brewskis we got on deck? I'm eating a little bit of popcorn. I'm gonna be honest. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Hockey game's about to go live. Let's go, camera live. We got hockey. I'm eating some popcorn over here. I gotta be honest. I'm eating some popcorn during this cast. I like popcorn. I like popcorn. Okay, over there. Hey, you need a towel. You can't even do that. No. You hear her? She's walking away. All right, everybody, it's Week Cake, and I'm so glad that everybody has popped in here for today. I'm just really quiet. I'm in the zone. I'm locked in. I got my cards in hand over here. I'm getting everything set up because it is full foil Saturday, meaning we're showing off my full foil collection of the team. We're going to talk about some of the important players that are going to be making an impact in today's game. Of course, the Florida Panthers, the Kitties, your defending Stanley Cup champion. Are over here on the right. It is their territory. Their captain, Alexander Barkov. Bam! Samuel Reinhardt. And Anton Lund. Dude, I was thinking the same thing, Sophie. I was thinking the exact same thing, Sophie. If only I knew what that language was. If only I knew what that meant. And the visitors for tonight. Your cards are worthless to me now. Lame. Panthers win? I think the Panthers are gonna win personally. I think I mean obviously look at these two teams right now. Sophie, is it Sophie Ann? Sophie Ann? All right, I'm calling you Sophie. If it's Sophie Ann, I don't know. You tell me in the chat. I'm sorry if I'm screwing it up. But if you look, look at the stats too, right? Florida Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champions, Buffalo Sabres. This is gonna be their 14th season in a row missing the playoffs. The Sabres they just don't have the gas right now. They just don't have the consistency. They just don't have the will to win right now. However, it doesn't mean they're without talent. Starting for your Buffalo, for the visiting Buffalo Sabres, Tage Thompson, gaming FOB 85%. Bam! Look at that beauty. Right next to Barkey, too. That's why I had this. That's why I grabbed my mouse. I was actually clicking over here. Yeah, I know you heard. Starting for the Buffalo Sabres, you have Zach Benson. If you want to focus camera, that would be cool. Premium Prospect is that's a beautiful card. Premium Prospect? Ah. And one of my personal favorite cards on defense, Owen Fowler. There you are, everybody. That's our full foil Saturday. I'm going to have a little bit more cone over here. Eating a little cone. Here we go. Puck has been dropped. We got a little 5 o'clock hockey game going on tonight, everybody. It's week Aiken. I'm eating popcorn. Eating popcorn, drinking Burt. Eating popcorn, drinking Burt. Eating popcorn, drinking Burt. We're over here watching the hockey game, Panthers, Sabres. After a insane, honestly, I did not think that the trade deadline was going to be as poppin' as it was this year. The trade deadline was absolutely insane this season. Marchand, of course, going to the Panthers. Vitek Vanacek now in the Panthers, being the goalie for tonight. Seth Jones on the Panthers. It's a completely different team. Oh, another shot. The Panthers went all in. They really did. Panthers went all in. I'm gonna look at the. Hmm. Panthers got all the way in and took a shot. Nothing. Power got it over. They got another shot. Sabres got a shot, but Vanacek smothers that puck. Bobrovsky looks pretty happy on the bench. All right, face off. Panthers lose the face off and take a shot. Goes right off the tip of Vanacek. Vitek Vanacek. That's going to take a while for me to remember that. Let's see here, though. Panthers, Greer, Reinhardt, Lundell, Barkov, Rodriguez, Verhage, Samosek, Lusterinen, Boquist, Sturm, Bennett, and Nosek. The Minnesota Wild had Nico Strum. What a weird niche player if he's literally a guy that just goes to teams to win faceoffs. That's what it feels like. Because he's just there to win faceoffs. For defense, Seth Jones. Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Dmitry Kulikov, Nico Mikula, Nate Schmidt. No Marchand, no Chucky. Hey, Dad made it. I can put my popcorn away then. I am so interested. I am beyond interested to see how this Seth Jones experiment goes. Because they're either going to crash or burn with Mr. Jones. And I have no idea which direction that's going to be, honestly. He was decent. He was decent with the Blue Jackets. He was like their first Werenski, right? Or the Werenski before Werenski, it felt like. Went to Chicago, but he goes to a dying Chicago team, to where he also pretty much quits trying. I almost wouldn't try. You're literally like the highest paid player, and everybody else there is just an AHL guy on a tryout contract, just there to fill a roster spot. Some guys just get, there's just some NHL prospect out there that's just getting an NHL ride just because there's nobody else that's good enough, or they just don't want to pay anybody else, honestly. Like, you know what? We can pay you the least for everything. We'll buy you a duffel bag with the Blackhawks logo on it. We'll pay for your travel to come up from the minor leagues, whatever. We'll play you. We'll send you right back down when we find somebody, or we just won't re-sign you. All right, everybody. Today we do have a lot of hockey to talk about regarding the cast. I'll cast a little bit during the game today. What? We gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about this trade deadline right now. I need to talk trade deadline right now. Get this hockey game out of here. I'm gonna get copyrighted. Can't get this hockey game ad out of here. Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, look at this. I can't. I like put my thumb over this so I don't get copyrighted because I know I probably would. Toronto Maple Leafs receive Reese Johnson, and the Minnesota Wild get future consideration. So the Wild just say, "We don't want this guy. Take him." And the Leafs were like, "You know what? Okay. Hey, are you guys willing to just take this guy off our hands? He's a really good guy." And you know what? You know the conversations that I'd really like to hear? I'd love to hear future considerations trades, right? Just imagine how those go on the phone. Ring, ring. Yeah, hey, 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 Bob, 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 Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. So Bob, Got this player. Right, I got this prospect. His name is Scorington. And wow, I mean, Scorington, I know he's a minor. I know he's a prospect. Yeah, we know he's a pretty darn decent player. We know he's gonna have some skip to his step. But Scorington, we just can't play him. We just don't have the space. Not just not looking like he's gonna be a part of this core. So uh, we just gotta find him a right home. And Bob, we just know that your organization will take care of Scorington. Bob, we just believe in everything. You're gonna do great. Panthers score. Looks like it was Greer. Jams the puck in. I sound like Trump. But looking in just is like, more of this. Panthers fans having a good time. Back to my hypothetical phone call that I'm not Trump. But that's not like, honestly, it's like for those future consideration trades. And just imagine the guy on the other side be like, nah, like I know he's bad. You think I want to hire? We all want to score Scorington. I can't believe it. Honestly, like I was thinking it'd just be so funny. Just the other guy just calling up the other GM. I know that player's not great. I seen his stats. Why you trying? Dude, my ears are cold. I just got my hair cut. I'm not used to having like I literally got. I'd probably say 60, 70% of my hair cut off. I'd say 70% of my hair cut off. My neck are so cold. I'm not used to it. It's been like a month and a half. It's supposed to be a month and a half, or excuse me, it's supposed to be 3 weeks. But man, I waited a month and a half. Can't believe it. But okay, but that's our future considerations trade. Okay. Oh my gosh, this trade tracker thing is bothering me. Now we have Danil Misiul, a defenseman, going to the Boston Bruins, and Mark McLaughlin, a center, going to the New Jersey Devils. So that isn't necessarily a big trade. But then we have a funny trade. We have Daniel Sprong getting traded from the Seattle Kraken for a seventh round pick to the New Jersey Devils. Daniel Sprong literally, he just never can fill the team. He's been around to so many different teams. He's been on so many different rosters. I don't know. There just must just be such a lack of consistency. The random sparks in his game just must come and go so quickly. Now, this is another weird small trade. The Nashville Predators trading Mark Janwick for a fifth round pick to the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Nashville Predators get the fifth round pick. The Hurricanes get a center and Mark Jankowski. Eric Johnson goes from the Colorado Avalanche, or excuse me, from the Philadelphia Flyers back to the Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche love bringing back defensemen that won the cup with them, hoping that that nostalgia will burn so bright, so deep, and so hard that these players will start competing extra hard to try to win this cup. Tampa Bay shutout? Oh no, Boston shutout. I wonder how bad it was 4-0 when I was watching the game. But Eric Johnson going for Giovanni Smith. So They are trading a player for him, but he is the first overall draft pick. But of course, he's a lot slower now. Oh, we have a breakaway. Krabs, front and back and Ripper. Block, Vanacek, no goal. Now there's a penalty. So all that hype is gone. Tripping call. Oh, it was a tripping right before the breakaway started. All right. So, I mean, the Colorado Avalanche riding that nostalgia, getting a player back that they had previously, and then Giovanni, forget, it's not the biggest trade. Neither is this one. Adam Beckman, a left wing, going to the New York Islanders from the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils getting this Cholowski in return. Haven't heard of Cholowski. Now, Eric Brandstrom is a funny one. Eric Brandstrom was one of those Vegas Golden Knights. Was one of those Vegas Golden Knights draft picks, right? I think he was sent to the Ottawa Senators as part of the Mark Stone trade. Eric Brandstorm then had been traded around the league, just never really able to find a significant place, a significant spot in the league to where he felt comfortable. It will be interesting because the Rangers are trading him to the Sabres, and it looks like the Rangers are getting on Nicholas Ambe-Kubel, who is another player that just kind of floats around from team to team. There are a lot of players that just aren't high impact players. Some of them they might feel like might try a little harder when they're traded at the deadline. They feel like maybe they could explode. Who knows? The Penguins just continuing to unload things and trade and trade and trade and trade and trade and trade and trade. Picking up double Connor Dewar and Connor Timmins from the Maple Leafs for a 5th round pick. So they take 2 players for a pick, picking up 2 contracts for Magic Beans. Then we have a larger trade, the Senators and the Sharks. Senators get Zetterlund, Robbins, and a 4th round pick. The Sharks get Gregor Ostapachuk and a 2nd round pick. Now, is Zetterlund bad? I thought Zetterlund was good. Is he an older player? Apparently, I've just missed an entire Sabres power play, too. All right, if you're just joining, the Sabres power play, no luck, no gas, no nothing. Just like their playoff hopes. For the last 14 years, right? 14 seasons of no playoffs. It's a lot of seasons, folks. It's a lot of seasons, right? Now we're going on a commercial break. I gotta grab my phone. Gotta be able to do the moderating. Hang tight, everybody. I'll be back in like 20 seconds. All right, all right. I got my phone. I got my phone. Grabbing a back up chili one. And everybody knows what you do. You take one out, you put one in. You do the hokey pokey. And that's how you always have a cold one. Only time you may not is if you run out. Which then you could even get talking about pre planning. Britt, I have Verhage on my fantasy. Well, Britt, what do you think about Verhage on your fantasy? Has he been doing good? Has he been disappointing? Talk to me about it. How's your fantasy season been going, Britt? My fantasy season goes up and down, up and down. My fantasy season can't figure out its life. It's frustrating to deal with. All right, everybody, wipe a little popcorn off the face, a little popcorn salt, popcorn flavoring. Let's see if the Buffalo Sabres actually have any skip to them because they just traded Cousins. And Cousins was one of those players that you felt had a lot of hype, had a lot of skip to his step. You felt like he was going to be able to do something. I felt like he was going to be able to do. Hey, NF Cool Carl and Lady Ryderix, welcome, 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 welcome to the chat. And Britt, our chat's popping off today. I gotta look at the chat. What's Britt saying? This year, my fantasy season has treated me very well, and Verhage has more misses than lately, but breaking about half a point a game. I mean, it's really hard to get some of those super duper consistent players, but it does feel great when you know that, oh no, their worst is half a point, and the normal is usually like a point and a half. But then you know on the nights where they're actually performing, as far as like what they're known to do, they're like, I'm gonna get like 3.5 points. You're like, yeah, this player's fun to have. I like this. I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. I mean, and then everybody else in the chat, let me know who else in the chat actually plays fantasy hockey, or do you play a different fantasy sport? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I want to see. Got that chat open. Anybody saying anything? Nobody's saying anything. It's okay. Back. No, I was gonna say back to the game, but we're still kind of at a pause of play right now. Rotating some of the players coming on the ice, close-ups of the coach. They're probably just doing shenanigans there at the hockey arena. There we go. Face off. Panthers win. Kulikov chips it on in. Sabres try to prevent the Panthers from getting it deep, but where there's a will, there's a way. Panthers do get it all the way down the ice. Did the Panthers get anybody from the Sabres this season in the trade deadline? I don't think so. Last season the Panthers decided to get the veteran Kyle Okposo. They chose to get Okposo, bring him on over from the Sabres. Obviously, they won the Stanley Cup. Okposo, making the right decision, retires. If I'm 37 years old, 36, and I win the cup, I'm retiring. Like, I finally accomplished it. After all these years, I would definitely do that. I would definitely do that. Back to another commercial. Nobody in the chat be chatting. All right, let me go back to. Oh, they're like TSN's like we just want all the copyrights for you. So back to this one. Zetterland, I don't know how old Zetterland is. So I don't know if this is a good trade or if this is a bad trade. You should have traded for the Longhorns. Congrats to Britt for 8 wins in a row. Pops giving Britt the high five, letting her know he is proud. I hear a laugh from the other side of the room, Pops. That's all you need to know. Uh-oh, she's saying mean things right now. I can't believe. Ooh, she's talking smack now. She thinks she's gonna get to the playoffs and take the whole thing. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, okay, the Zetterlund guy. I don't know. I know he was doing good, but who knows? Brad Marchand, 2011 Stanley Cup champion with the Boston Bruins, 2019 Stanley Cup loser, Boston Bruins. That's really interesting. I find that really, 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 really interesting. Okay, let's keep going. Now, the Yokiharu trade is kind of weird to me. I thought Yokiharu was an okay defenseman, but at the same time, I did see that it felt like he reached his peak. It did feel like Yokiharu's true potential was understood. He he was just going to be a moderately working bottom pairing defenseman. And that's unfortunately that's just what it was. Now the Blackhawks trade Shea Weber, Victor Soderstrom, and Aku Roddy to the Blackhawks or to Utah, and Utah just sends a 5th round pick the other way. So Utah picking up a little debt. I don't know why. Maybe so they can get some other players. The Blackhawks just getting a small pick, so they're getting something off. They're getting all this stuff off their books. So they're like, hey, we'll have to send you a little bit of a prospect. We'll see if these players can do anything for you, but we got to get this guy off our books. And we had Utah. They're like, I'll throw you a 5th. I mean, were there any trades that I was hoping for? Obi's broken stick that I was hoping for? That's actually a really good question. Hoping for. Honestly, I was kind of hoping for the Rantanen trade to be true because it's just such a weird, like, I wanted the rumors to be true. I wanted the rumors that Rantanen just wasn't getting along, the synergy or whatever you want to call it. I wanted to believe that was true, that you know what, he's just not getting along with any of these people. Or you know what, they're just not going to work it out. I think that's nuts. Now, the other thing is the Stars, the only way the Stars would trade for him is if he would sign that extension right away, like pre-sign it, like sign that extension and then trade him. But now he doesn't even know what that team's like. Apparently, it was a surprise trade for him to go to the Hurricanes. That was cool to me. Honestly, the first trade was cool to me. When I heard that Rantanen was going to the Hurricanes, I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. Maybe maybe this is gonna maybe it's all just going to work. Maybe it's actually all going to work. And sad thing is it really didn't. It it just didn't work. I don't know if it was personalities. I don't know if it was asking price. I don't know what it was, but all we know is that it didn't work, and now he is signed for the rest of his career with with the Dallas Stars, which he's kind of like right back in that division, which is kind of funny, almost. He's right back on the other side. I thought that was nuts. Was there somebody that I wanted to go to a team that I wanted to see? Mm, I wanted to see the Penguins trade Eric Carlson. I was really hoping that was going to happen. I was really dreaming the Penguins would get like 2 seconds in a first for Eric Carlson, and he can go to like Utah. I'm addicted to this popcorn. I gotta be honest to everybody. I'll be grabbing little bites here and there. I'm trying to do it during commercial breaks. God, I hope Kenny gets cooked. I think it's funny. All right, all right, all right, all right. Obi's broken stick. I read your comment, but now I'll actually read your comment. Do you think the Penguins will try to build around Crosby again? No. And I mean, the hard thing is like, what do you mean? Like the hard thing, like, what do you can't, you don't. Well, I think when the terms build around Crosby is weird in the first place because Crosby does anything you need him to do. Like he can actually do everything. Crosby can actually do anything for the most part. So the only thing for Crosby is he just needs other competent players. So you just surround Crosby with talent, amazing things can happen. You surround him with mediocrity, decent things can happen. But nonetheless, you're going to get results, whether it's him or him making other players better. He's gonna elevate a fourth line prospect to a fringe second line player just because Crosby can give that player that many opportunities for them to become successful. And at an NHL level, you get that many opportunities, you're gonna drain some of them, right? Still 1-0 for them, the Panthers game. Almost 20 shots in the first period, 10 for the Panthers, 8 so far for the Sabres. Krabs wants some revenge. He's going to try and dribble on in. We have less than a minute to go in this first period. I didn't really do much casting for the first period. But back to Crosby. When it comes to building around him, it's like I said, it's just getting competent players. And then most of it is like honestly just getting defense and a goalie. You get some good defense, you get a good goalie. Crosby can probably figure it out with the forwards. But the other thing that's hard for Crosby is he's like, I don't. If I'm literally the only person with talent, they just guard me, and then it's hard for me to break away from other people to get like set up for a goal. Even though Ovechkin pretty much just can stand in the same spot, slam home a one-timer, bing, bang, boom, there you go. It's a lot different for a player like Crosby, right? But the thing is, the Penguins are just, they're not trying to win. They're trying to maintain a decent team, if anything, to showcase their remaining prospects. That's all they're doing. Showcasing Rust, showcasing Raquel, Malkin, Crosby, Letang, all of them will retire with the team. Everybody that says trade Malkin, trade Letang, they've already made their choice. The team said, "You won us 3 Stanley Cups. That's all we need. You did your job. We appreciate your service, and we're gonna pay you for the rest of your career, and then we're gonna retire your number. We are going to take care of you. You got us the cup. We're gonna take care of you. You won the cup 3 times. We're gonna take care of you." No, I don't really think there's really any other franchises that have really won the cup 3 times like that. The Blackhawks did. So the Blackhawks have some players that have won the cup 3 times. And they did it before the Penguins too. So you gotta think about that. There's a lot, and then think about the Tampa Bay Lightning. They won it twice. Almost got the three-peat. They ended up losing. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in hockey. I don't really have a lot of interest for trades, mainly due to not understanding the impact. I always thought it was a hazard / part of the job. You know what? It definitely, you're not wrong. I mean, the biggest thing about sports is your health, and your talent is your job security. I mean, that's it, right? If you're good, people will pay you. If you can compete, people will pay you. The team will get advertising revenue. Everything works out. Everyone makes money. You do the game. And we get paid money. We pay you money. We're all happy. So the big thing about the trades are so interesting because it's how teams are built. Trades are so interesting because you can literally look at one of the best or one of the worst players traded for one of the best or one of the worst players. Or the best Ovi's broken stick. Before I go on my commercial break or before I go on intermission break, the craziest thing is that draft picks are magic beans. You don't know what they're going to be. You never know. Even from what they've done prior to NHL hockey, that is not pro league, a lot of the time it will never directly translate. So draft picks, being that they're magic beans, you have no idea what they're going to be, if they're going to be good, bad, or awful. Those are the most fun. Because sometimes you get this player that was great, and they were traded for these draft picks, and then that player just comes out to be awful. Comes out just to be awful. You have no idea. It's a slot machine. And that they tell you that, because essentially the way it goes over these broken stick is that the higher the draft pick, the higher the round. There's 7 rounds, 7 being the lowest, first being the best, is that you have higher percentage of getting a hit, a good player, in the higher rounds. It starts off with like 20%, and then it drastically goes down. If not 30-40% first round. You can get a really good player in the first round, but it gets worse and worse and worse the further the rounds go on, right? And that's difficult. That's really difficult. And that's really difficult for teams. But I will talk more about this when I come back from my intermission. You know, I will be back, everybody. It's week caking. I'll be back. All right, all right, all right, all right. We back, yeah, yeah. We can, we can, back. Pop's still a little quiet in the chat over here. Always broken stick. So let's get back to this. Outside of favorites moving away from your teams, of course. Yes, trades are the most important thing that happen because trades can either because the biggest thing you have to consider about pro sports and pro athletes when it comes to team building and like in the NHL, in the National Hockey League, there is something called the salary cap. The salary cap practically means you can pay players up to this amount. Every team has the same cap. So every team has to figure out how to manage their assets, their players, their draft picks, their prospects, their overall cap situation. And to manage that cap situation, you have to make sure that you're not overpaying one player when you could be maybe paying two players a little bit less than that. So you got to think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. But the hard thing is that if you're getting a player and you're paying them upwards of 6.5, it's really 7 million. If it's really upwards of 7 million, there's got to be a big reason in the NHL for why you're doing that. There's got to be a real big reason for why you're doing that. So when it comes to, oops, I gotta put this back. The trade deadline, the trade deadline is so exciting because it's every team's last opportunity to build their team for what they consider to be playoff ready or Stanley Cup contenders. So at that trade deadline, that's the last day of the season that any team can trade and have that trade, how do I say, have that trade be playoff approved. So trades can technically happen after it, but that player would not be able to play, I think, in the playoffs. So what's the point? If you're going to expend resources that late in the season, you you'd hope it'd be for something. Ooh, talk with a big ripper. You heard that ding? Hockey has some very satisfying sounds, especially when there's shots off the net. But back to the trade deadline. Yes, these draft picks and these contracts of these players, when you're trading players, you're not just trading talent. This is a business, right? Sport, they always say it, sports is a business, right? And when they say sports is a business, they mean that people are getting paid real money. These athletes are making real money for legitimate reasons. You got to make sure that you're paying them this money for a good reason. That reason probably going to be because they're going to be able to be a productive player that could help your team win the trophy, win the Stanley Cup, win the win the season, or win the league, right? The goal is to win the league. You want to be the best team. Being the best team, you win the trophy, right? You win the Stanley Cup. Yeah, a lot of work to do that. Neon Omen, what trade did you react to most? Marchand, probably. That Marchand trade, I was like, there's no way. And it's all because of my coworker. My coworker looked to me and said, Carl, I looked at him. I mean, I was super busy and slammed that day. We were so busy at work. And I just said, and I'm like, hey, did you pay attention to this trade deadline? He's like, yeah, this Marchand guy got traded. I'm like, what? There's no way. I'm like, I saw Rantanen got traded or was going to get traded, but I didn't see anything about Marchand. I'm like, that was nuts. That was crazy to me. Now you wonder what's going to happen with McAvoy and Pasternak. You do the quick rebuild. And you literally just do a yard sale on everybody. Kind of be like the Blackhawks, get close to the bottom of that draft quick and easy, and go from there. I think that's what you have to do. Trade for some young prospects, throw them into the pool. Have you done more research on the Marchand trade? What necessarily would there to be? Because it's a conditional second round draft pick. It could be a first, but for the most part, it's probably going to be a second round draft pick. Talk to me about this research. Talk to me about this research. But no, that's the trade deadline is legitimately second Christmas. And I can't believe it snuck up on me. This season has honestly flew by so quickly. It has flown by so quickly. Oh, it's offsides. Lame. Ah, and if Cool Carl says, maybe I'm overthinking it then. I felt that Marchand performed really well during the Four Great Nations series, and I had thought that I had a lot of impact. Well, no, I mean it's a good trade. Don't get me wrong. I mean there's not much research to be done. Marchand's a great player. I mean it's a it's an insane trade. There's no research because it's a draft pick that they're trading for him. Everybody knows how good Marchand is. Everybody knows that Marchand is an exceptional hockey player. Everybody knows that. It's just he's injured right now, so he won't be available until maybe the playoffs. So that's what the Florida Panthers have to deal with, is they have to deal with Matthew Kachuk being out and Brad Marchand being out. But it will be interesting to see Marchand in different colors, I'll tell you that. You've only seen him as part of the Bruins. Now they're showing they're willing to get rid of the boys. I'd like to see Marchand sign with the Flyers, honestly. I think Marchand would be a fantastic flyer. No, my game crashed. I'll be back, everybody. Gotta unplug and replug. Well, everybody, you're with me right now because I have my microphone on still. I honestly think my Chromecast Ultra is just overheating. No, I already unplugged and replugged it. Good morning. All right. I just gotta wait for my. I don't even have my. I don't have the hockey game on right now. Everybody, I gotta wait for it to come back. Panthers should honestly destroy them. I mean, their roster is just insane, and it's not just their roster; it's that their team just plays well together. There's something about the Sabres where it's always one thing or another, right? It's like, oh, is it the goaltending? Is it the goaltending? Is it the defense? Is it the goaltending? Because they had pretty decent offense for last season. This season, it felt like the offense definitely stepped off. Their offense changed, and it just hasn't been where it was. And the sad thing is they were just starting to do great because they were getting a lot of goals. And now they made a couple of roster changes where they lost a lot of goals. And and now it feels like the goaltending is starting to creep on them more and more. All right, let's see if I can play the hockey game. It's just a black screen. I can't believe it. I don't know what's going on with my television, everybody. Literally just a black screen. This is oh, you gonna work? Apparently it's gonna work now. All right, coming back, coming back, coming back, coming back, coming back, I'm back. And the game's back on. Panthers with the ripper. Luukkonen with the save. Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad. I think Aaron Ekblad is getting a lot of additional support. I think that Schmidt helped a little bit. I know Schmidt's slowing down, but I still thought Schmidt was a fantastic player when he played for the Golden Knights. I know he had that really bad penalty that I believe like cost the team pretty poorly in that. And I think he had that like drug case or something that he came back after like 21 games and ended up doing pretty good. But I think that killed a lot of the smiling athlete vibes. We got a penalty. Nope, they're all just skating to change. Slowing the game down, slowing the game down. Let's see here. Now look at these trades. So this was a really big trade. So you know the Boston Bruins are ripping it down. They traded their longtime defenseman Brandon Carlo to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Fraser Minton, a conditional 2026 first round pick and a 2025 fourth round draft pick. Bruins retain 15% of Brandon Carlo's salary. Toronto's 2026 first round pick is a fifth protected, top five protected. Oh, wow. Crumbling military. Thank you, crumbling military. Boo. I don't like how to look at my abilities. Show my abilities. Give me my power. Finally, we got a goal, but I'm distracted because I'm too busy trying to ban some dude. There. Everyone, you always get those guys that these bot accounts that come on your channel trying to sell views. You gotta just ban them, and get them out of here. Ban them and get them out of here. All right. My haircut that I didn't really do. But that's a crazy trade because when you look at that, you know 100% for sure that the Toronto Maple Leafs they're trying to bolster their defenses and they're trading a really important draft pick. And the other thing, of course, you get the Boston Bruins who trading away two extremely important players from their last cup runs and cup attempts. Oh, if he's broken stick, you're still here. I looked up some trades for this year. What does it mean to trade for future considerations? Always broken stick. That's a fantastic question. Fantastic question. I gotta take a drink first. So future considerations is nothing. It's nothing. It's actually nothing. It's future considerations is just a professional way of trying to say we'll we'll get you on the next one. Most of the time it's used to unload a contract. It's like, will you take this guy? We just don't want him. And they'll say, what do you want from him? Like, nothing. Just take him. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it. We just don't want this guy. But he's not bad. But we can't have him. Will you take this guy? And they'll say, sure. Yep. Well, when you think about it, there's only so many players that make the team. There's only so many draft picks or draft prospects that work out. So there's a lot. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of players. There are a lot of players that they're just not. They just don't cut it. Just aren't good enough. Just don't make it. And I mean, at least in my opinion, I mean, I like to see a competitive league. I like to see teams be successful, but there's just a very large lack of success. So, but yeah, future considerations. It's a really funny thing. It's a lot of times it's just used to get rid of a player. We'll give you something later. It usually never comes to something. Bobby's broken stick. Are you watching the game too? Marchand, Jones, Sturm, and Vanacek. Yeah, and that's the funniest thing too. I noticed that both Florida teams loaded up. Yanni Gord and Bjorkstrand coming from Seattle, getting Yanni Gord back. I'm surprised they didn't get Barclay Goodrow too. Hey Stamkos, you want to come back? Better retain that salary. We'll give you a third round pick for Stamkos. You just retain half of his salary. Nope, nope, nope. Has anyone pursued? That's a great question. Hey, Pops, we have a big question. Has anybody actually ever pressed somebody for future considerations? Or is it literally just known as a cheat code? Reinhardt. Reinhardt getting a little amped up. Pops, if you're there, I gotta know. Has anybody ever pursued future? Has anybody ever like pressed somebody or pursued future considerations? Like, has a team ever gotten said they were given future considerations? Like, all right, you got an IOU. They're like, okay, cool. And then has a team ever gone back to them like, so remember that IOU you gave us? There's that guy that you just got on your team. Looks kind of all right. You know, that prospect. Do you really need him? I'll take him off your hands. Remember that IOU? Huh? Huh? 8 minutes and 1 second ago in the second period. It's been a pretty slow hockey game. I mean, stuff has been happening, but just not a lot. You be losing. Beautiful save, Vanchek. Vanchek with another beautiful save. That was a beautiful save that you saw from Vanchek. So my pops is saying, Ovi's broken stick. He's still in the chat. I got a little bit of an answer for you if you're still here. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So my pops is saying back in the 1960s and 1970s, a team would tell lower teams that owed them a favor to pass on a good player. So possibly if you really owed somebody an IOU or something like that. Oh, Panthers almost went up 3-0. But those IOUs, practically what could happen is that they might say, hey, we're going to do this for you. But sometimes in those IOUs, they might say, hey, in this draft, hey, who are you picking up for this next round? They might say, you know what they might do? They might do this. Who you picking? Who you picking for this next round? Who you picking for this next? Okay, okay, you picking that play, you picking that play, you picking that play, you picking that play, you picking that play. Okay, so what if I wanted that player and you owe me one? Oh, beautiful save, Lukanen, 2-0. Does the splits, hits him right in the chest. That was awesome. Well, back to this trade. Back to the back to the trade. Back to the trade. Let's get back to the trade. So for this trade, right? Oh, we got just not a commercial. Oh. For the trade, they'll say, "Yeah, I'll give you this," and then come the draft time, they'll be like, "Hey, I'll make you. Why don't you pass on that player? I'll pick. You get this other player, and I'll get that player." So it's not. And then let's see here. Yeah, it sounds like it's just a little bit of draft, possible a little bit of draft manipulation. So maybe it's used less for direct demands and more for like draft considerations. Maybe letting people move up or down in the draft. Because I can see that. Yeah, right. Let's go back. Shoo. So it sounds like it's a lot of draft manipulation. My pops is starting to tell me a lot of stories about teams just moving the draft order around, saying, "Hey, you pick. You're going to take a guy that's not necessarily that has that big of stats, or you're gonna pick a guy that isn't necessarily a prospect. You're not a high end prospect. You're gonna pick a guy that has more negative trends than he does positive trends." And sometime, and honestly though, it sounds like from a lot in the earlier days. So now he's telling me another '70s story where the Islanders took a goalie. The he said Pollock let the Islanders take a goalie if they took a worser player, which gave Atlanta a player if they took a sluggo, a worse player too. But then Montreal lost a goalie in the 1970s draft because of it. So it sounds like there was a lot more in the past, and that's another thing too. And that pops. Let me help me understand this. And this could just be a way the business of the sport evolves too. Is maybe there's a lot more, especially without social media and the internet. There's a lot more things everywhere else that was a lot more hush hush. The access to media was completely dwindled. I mean, unless you're watching television or reading the newspaper, you didn't know the news. In the early 2000s and whatnot, late 90s, when the internet came out, you could start reading news on your computer. But for the most part, it was just going to be paper. Well, then all these tablets and stuff started getting popular and easy to use. And instead of paying money for all these pieces of paper, you buy one tablet, you pay half the subscription cost. Now you just look at all that stuff on your tablet or your computer. It's happened for a lot of people. 21 shots for the Panthers, 18 so far for the Sabres. No goals for the Sabres. And you just can't tell what the Sabres are even doing. If they're trying, if they're not, what they even want. It's hard to tell. Here you go, Panthers. You going up 3-0? They do it. Lusterinen was Lindell a part of that last goal? I think he may have been, everybody. Anton Lindell and the rest of the boys. They did it. They did it. This trade deadline, dude, we're not even halfway done with these trades. So it's almost like the Bruins dealt these Bruins players instantly back to back. So this is the conditional second round pick that the Panthers got traded for Marchand. Second round pick becomes a 2027 or 2028 first round pick if the Florida Panthers win 2 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs and Marchand plays 50% of the team's playoffs games. Boston does retain 50% of the salary. I could see why that would work out. If they do good, they trade more. If they suck, then they did enough for a tryout. Penguins getting rid of Cody Glass and Jonathan Gruden. Just trying to move players in and out, seeing who works. If they don't, they're gone. That's it. Chase Stillman, Max Graham, and a third round pick going back to the Penguins. Penguins go just trying to get as many picks as they can. The more magic beans, the more prospects, the more players that they can get into their organization is the goal. Red Wings and Blackhawks with a small trade. Mrazek and Smith going to the Red Wings. The Blackhawks receiving Joel Valeno, a center. Now this is a larger trade. A larger trade. Casey Middlestat, William Zettler's a second round pick for Charlie Coyle and a fifth round pick. So Charlie Coyle, of course, a player that has been on the Bruins for the last few years. And on the Bruins, he's been doing pretty. I would say he's been a pretty decent, pretty great competitor. And now we're kind of at a spot where some of these teams, like the Boston Bruins, they're kind of waving the white flag. They're saying, you know what, we we just don't have it in us anymore with our core. And the other thing that a lot of teams, so one of the most difficult things for a team to admit is that they have to rebuild. That their group of players have peaked, that they've done what they can do, and that the players they have in their team essentially have to be traded. They have to leave. They cannot pay them anymore. They need to pay different players in order for them to try to be competitive and compete again for the Stanley Cup. Because ultimately, the goal is to win the Stanley Cup. In order to win the Stanley Cup, you need a competitive team. So you have to build that competitive team. That is the motivation of hockey. That is the motivation of pro sports, right? You got to build that competitive team. You got to win the cup. Only 30 seconds left to go in the second period. It's 3-0 we're going to have going into the third. Vanacek could get a shutout for his first attempt in this as a Panther. Not bad. However, the Bruins, they're definitely turboing their rebuild. So they're getting rid of as many players as they possibly can get rid of. As many players as they possibly can get rid of. So they have to pay less players so that they can give out more tryouts to other younger players to see if they can maybe get a hit. That's all they're going to do. They're going to see if they can get a hit, see if they can get a young player, and just do bad so they can get better draft picks. And that's the really a crummy thing is you watch players develop, you see if you can get somebody to develop. If they do, great. If not, shucks. Like you got to move on. That's all pro sports is. You give somebody a 2 years, see if there's promise. If not, you kind of move on from it. If they do, you kind of keep them around for a little bit longer. In sports, things are kind of done in 2-year increments, it feels like. We do enter another intermission, everybody. We will go into our final intermission break before we come back and finish this game out for the third period. This is Week Cake, and we're going to be back. It's Full Foil Saturday. We'll see you soon. All right, all right, all right, all right. We got one last period to go. We got one more period of hockey. Hopefully, we have a little bit more fireworks than what we've been having so far, but it is kind of dwindling down towards the end of the season. One team has everything to fight for, and the other team is working on some soul searching, of course. Now, of course, a lot of that soul searching has yet to reap any rewards, as the Buffalo Sabres are going to miss the playoffs yet again. Who else? 900 shots of inches. I'll be honest, I played a game of Call of Duty during the intermission. Sweet. Almost there. Here we go. Here I'm coming back. All right, we got one period left of hockey to go through. Let's lock in, everybody. Let's enjoy this last period of hockey for today. Lady Rydrix, did you get to eat dinner at intermission? I did not eat dinner. I ate dinner before I went live, actually, or late lunch. Yeah, I'd call it late lunch. We actually had buffalo chicken wings. Ah, my cast is screwing up, everybody. I'm sorry, my game won't turn on. Come on, television. Do the television thing. Play the game. Nope. It's legitimately just black. Well, let's try plugging it back in again, everybody. We'll go to home. I can't believe I'm having technical difficulties. But we caking, we thought you were the tech guy. I mean, I can't have problems too, everybody. Oh, shit. Oops. Oopsies. I almost turned my volume to max. So when you're casting, you can control the volume, and I normally don't cast to my television. Normally I cast to my Chromecast, and I just control the Chromecast volume. Well, like when I cast to my television, I control my television's volume. The television can go all the way up to 100%. The Chromecast can't. So I accidentally almost maxed out my volume of my entire TV to 100% on accident. And that would have been a very, very loud and unpleasant noise. Come on. There you go. Figure it out, television. Give us the hockey game. We want the hockey game. Give us this hockey game. No, I can't figure it out. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, good news is it's working. Bad news, it was playing the wrong thing. Come on, Chromecast or television, do it. Play the hockey game. All right, it's loading. All right, we're only a minute late. The Panthers right now, they have so much to be excited for this playoffs though. having won the Stanley Cup, now that they're defending champions, what do you think about what they did at the trade deadline? It's so huge. They added a goaltender, another goaltender that's been proven to be decent. He's had some pretty prominent hot streaks with a good defense behind him, with a good team behind him. People are going to try harder. There's a lot of psychology that goes into sports. If you're on a team like the Buffalo Sabres that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 seasons, you might just quit trying. You might not believe in yourself. The culture can be poor. Players might be mean to one another. It might just not be fun to be there. A lot of players do end up saying they have those feelings or those emotions when they have played for teams that have been in similar situations. So keep that in mind. It's very similar for players to feel upset when they're on teams that can't figure it out. When you're on a losing team, when there's a losing culture, generally people get upset and things don't work out, and there can be a toxic culture in the locker room. When the team isn't getting along as players, as people, when you're not getting along as people, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get along as players, right? That's just how it's going to be, right? If you can't get along as players or as people, you're never going to get along. You're never going to get along as players. So you just got to take that into consideration. So they added the goalie. They added Caleb Jones. The Seth Jones. Who's Caleb Jones? I have no idea who Caleb Jones is. Does he have a brother? Maybe he has a brother. Well, they added Seth Jones, right? And then Chicago, the Blackhawks retained half of the salary of the player, so they don't even have to pay him as much as they should. I think they retained. So actually, I don't remember that. Oh, we got some rough stuff in the Panthers game. Whoa, who we got? Greer and Duham and Dune or Dunn. Dunn just wailing on his rib cage. Greer falls down to the ice. Refs hop on him. So not much of a fight there. So then we got Vitek Vanacek for the goalie. Sorry, I saw the fight and I had to stop and watch the fight. I mean, come on, you gotta stop and watch the fight. Vitek Vanacek, the goalie. Seth Jones, the defender. They get Brad Marchand. Ooh, Greer showing off his ink. Ooh, a big hit land on Kulikov. Kulikov, oh, we got a penalty? Ekblad and Greer? I don't get it. So the Sabres might go on a power play right now. When the Sabres going on the power play, that could be a little dangerous. Yeah. Oh, Greer, he's going all the way off. I don't know if he's hurt or what, but I don't know if he's ejected, but he's going to the dressing room, it looks like. 15 minutes left to go in the third period, so he's either hurt or ejected or what. Nonetheless, Sabres, a minute 20 left to go in their power play. If they can get any life, it's right now. 15 minutes is more than enough to score 3 goals in a hockey game. Unless you're playing against the defending Stanley Cup champion and you haven't made the playoffs in 14 seasons. That can definitely be the difference. No, and they just lose the puck again. It's just so boring sometimes to watch some of these lower teams just continuously mishandle the puck, right? And when you watch these teams mishandle the puck so many times, you just get sick of watching it. You get sick of the incompetence. And I can only imagine how it feels to be a fan of the franchise. I mean, if you're a fan of the franchise, you kind of watch the team. You're like, yeah, this is what we've been doing. Oh, we're in the slot. Block. Vanchek at the last second. Who was the other? Was there another forward besides Marchand that the Panthers got? I'm blanking right now. They got Jones, Vanacek, Marchand. I forgot. I thought they showed a fourth player. Maybe not. But I think it's really exciting what this playoffs is going to look like because the other team from Florida. We're at a commercial break, by the way. Here we go. Both Florida teams are doing a lot to try and stay competitive, and I like to see it. I think that I mean, especially for the Lightning, you get rid of Stamkos, your captain. You don't re-sign him. You don't keep him. I think that's a really crummy thing that happens in the business world. Like, oh, you're asking for too much money. Yeah, we know you've been here forever. Maybe it's time you do test the market. Maybe you see what if other teams are willing to pay you what you want because we don't want to pay you that much. And they're like, what do you mean you don't want to pay me that much? Like, you don't want to do that. We're not going to do that business with you. We'll keep you on the team. But we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay you that. Our game's frozen. All right, I gotta recast again. My stuff is goofing up hard tonight. Come on, phone. It does always hurt when you're losing pops. Winning does cure a lot of things. Winning changes everything on your team. I know my Chromecast, my casting is working. because for whatever reason the hockey games struggle to cast, but the basketball games go through right away. And I'll switch to the basketball game and it will work, and then I'll go back to the hockey game and it doesn't work, and then I'm just sitting here just finally. Back to this trade deadline that we've been working on all stream. Now Brandon Tanev going back to the Winnipeg Jets. Brandon Tanev came from the Winnipeg Jets, went to the Pittsburgh Penguins, then went to the Seattle Kraken. Now he's going back. Or maybe it was Chris Tanev that was on the Jets. I don't, maybe I'm wrong. But I want to say it was Brandon. All right, Pops, you have a great night. You enjoy your food. We got our last 12 minutes of this hockey game before I'm going to call it a night. Brandon Tanev going over to the Winnipeg Jets. I think he's a high energy player for a second round pick. I do that in a heartbeat. If I was the Pittsburgh Penguins, I mean, if I was any other team, I would have done that so much long. I would have done that so much longer ago. Every team could use a guy like Brandon Tanev. Brandon Tanev is a guy that will live and die for the team. He's an energy guy. He's going to run in there. He's going to Leroy himself all the way in there. He's going to grind. Oh, it's Nico Strum. Vitek Vanacek, Nico Strum, Marchand, Jones. I guess they got Capo Kakinen, a fourth and a second pick. Sets out two goalies, a first, second, fourth. Well, I guess a conditional first and conditional second. Ooh, Panthers almost got a fourth. Now the Flyer. Now these are some other weird trades. Look at this, if you can. Wait, isn't that the guy who looks goofy? Yes, Brandon. That is absolutely right. Brandon Tanev is the player that pretends that he sees a ghost. At least that's what he calls it himself. He said, "I saw a ghost. I seen a ghost." Major trade: Senators, Sabres. Cousins, Gilbert, and a second round pick going to the Ottawa Senators. The Sabres getting Bernard Docker and Norris. Josh Norris is huge. Dylan Cousins is huge. So these are two teams that are struggling. Well, the Senators are kind of right in there. They're very close to being consistent, but for them, it's the lack of consistency that's really keeping them out of a contention spot, or at least a contention spot to where they feel a lot more secure. And then you look at the Sabres, they're just trying to take a different angle, a different approach. I I think it's hard to trade a guy that's been drafted by the organization, but at the same time, it can go one of like there's so many different directions it can go if you're drafted by a team. Sometimes you have the rose-colored glasses, and all you can think about is the good times. Oh yeah, I'm on the team. Yeah, they love me. They care about me. This is the good times. This is the good life. We living that good life. I'm living that good life, good life, good life, good la 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 la. Oh. I'm living that good life. I'm living that good life. That's how it feels over here. Now, Andrei Kuzmenko and a seventh round pick going away from the Flyers for a third. The Flyers return half of Kuzmenko's salary. I don't get this trade. I don't get this trade. A third round pick. I thought Kuzmenko was a pretty decent player, and I thought they got him so that he could help translate for Mitchkov. I don't understand this at all. Bavelier for a second round pick. That's a S tier trade. Bavelier is 20 goal scorer, maybe. He has the potential on the Islanders. Under the Penguins, I mean, they're kind of a rotting franchise right now. They're a franchise that's on a steep decline, and it's not going to go their way. That's the easiest way to put it. It's not going their way. Villiers really didn't work out too well for the Penguins. I mean, the hard part is all their players are rescinding. And it's really hard for a team. You know what's really funny? When a team that has players that they're paying 8 million, $7 million a season for their participation, and then they get a player for 2 million or 1 million, and then they look at that player like, why did that cheap player make the difference? Like, hey, we got this new guy. Why didn't you change our team? We thought you could do it. We thought you could have some skip, some jump. You couldn't do it. What's wrong with you? I mean, and a lot of the time they're also just trying to see if that player has any skip, has any potential. Major trade: Jake Wallman, a defenseman, going to the Oilers. The Sharks get Carl Berglund and a conditional first. Oilers, they did do a little something at the trade deadline. I mean, a first isn't something small at all. So looking at a trade like that, the Oilers are trying to do whatever they can to remain competitive. They want to be competitive. They want to see what they can do, and it's a really interesting trade because it's either going to work or it's not. We got a little. We got some more trades. Ducks, Islanders, Oliver Klington. Klington goes to the Ducks. Islanders got futures to consideration, so that's just another get rid of this guy for no reason. Brock Nelson and Dufour going to the Avalanche. Islanders receive Klington, Richie, a first and a third. So that player they just got from the Ducks, they're getting him away instantly with a couple of other players to get some returns back. Not bad. I mean, the Avalanche trying to stay competitive, trying to say, hey, we haven't given up. We still want to compete. We still believe we're a competitive team. We still believe we're in this thing. Hey, don't give up on this. Don't give up on this. We're still here. We can still do it. This is a kind of a very tiny trade. Marat Kushnandinov and a 6th-round pick for Justin Brazo. I think this is just more of asset management. It's trying to take players and assets and shrink them. Because the thing is, in sports, you gain a lot and then you shrink your assets because sometimes you get too many assets to the point to where you can't do anything with it. You have too many players that you can't try them out. You have too many players that you can't pay. Eventually, there can be too much of a good thing. Susie for a third, going to the Rangers from the Canucks. All right, trade. Riley Smith going back to the Golden Knights. Rangers getting Brisson and a 3rd-round pick. I don't remember if Riley Smith started on the Rangers and before he went to the Panthers. I think it was something like that. I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but I think Riley Smith back to the Golden Knights is great. Honestly, it would have been beautiful if they would have gotten Marshall too, but Marshall just that one extra million. Man, I almost killed my second Jabrewski. Benson, a penalty in the box. Panthers, let's see how hard you can really just absolutely slap this game away. Rip their net, Panthers, rip their net. Here they go. Barkov, Bennett. Bennett couldn't get the shot off, and then he falls to the ice. Panthers, are they going to keep it in? Barkov does. Barkov, what an S tier player. I'm so glad that people watched the Panthers and started to realize how good of a team they are. They are such a fantastic team. Such a fantastic team. All right, we got 6 minutes to go in the hockey game and a minute and a half to go in the power play. Panthers don't have to do anything, but if anything, let's see if they can sharpen this power play. The more that they can. Oh, right there, shot. Oh, he tries to slide it for Hagee. Bennett looks around, sends it with Verhage. He's going to go to the top of the circle. Actually, it's Barkov. A bouncing puck goes a little bit wide. That's going to go around the edge. Ekblad, beautiful. Oh my gosh, the way the Panthers just keep the puck away too. Bennett wanted a shot, but he can't get it. Puck got clear. Panthers got to rebuild the offensive zone attack. I like the Golden Knights having their misfit line. I think the Golden Knights not having the misfits was the biggest mistake of their life. They did win their cup, but I think they could have won a cup through other means. Panthers taking shots. Save. Sabres. Panthers got to reattack. At this point, I mean, it's pretty odd. Oh, right there, Verhage had a wide open net, but he just couldn't get there. Oh, wow, we got some rough cross checks behind the net. I'm surprised that didn't lead to a fight, honestly. Breakaway, Sabres. Oh, beautiful attempt. Benson out of the box, front and backhand, Drager. Couldn't beat the leg of Vanacek, the best save of the night by far. What an absolute beauty of an attempt for Benson. Zach Benson does the ooh owie, but almost makes up for it instantly. Almost erases the soon to be shutout for Vanacek or Vanek. Come on, Sabres. Krebs is going to be able to do anything. No, he's getting cross-checked off that puck. Cross-checked off that puck. Sabres are going to try. It looks like they just all they want. Like we don't want to get shut out because there's nothing worse than not scoring. If you at least lose by having a point, at least you can say, "Hey, we did something. We did something." But when you lose and you don't score at all, then it's like your team got destroyed. Sabres, Darlene. Oh, they're pulling the goalie. 3 minutes to go. 3 goals down. I have a feeling the Panthers are going to get this puck within the next 10 seconds and score. Battle along the boards continues. 3-on-3. Board battle. Now it's like 4-on-4. 4 Sabres, 3 Panthers. Almost 5 Sabres. And the puck does get cleared. JJ Paterka's got to skate all the way down and grab that puck. Panthers attacking the Sabres. The Sabres trying to play it a little slow, see what they can manifest. Oh, Bowen Byron skates it in, curls around, drags, falls right on his booty. Sabres able to get the puck back. And Thompson just can't. Oh my gosh, what a weirdest curl I've ever seen in my life. Still maintaining the puck, got the pass, got the shot off. No goal. Panthers just dump it down the ice. They're going to force the Sabres to try to get the puck all the way back down the ice. Everybody, we got less than a minute and a half to go in the hockey game. Sabres, they don't want to get shut out. Panthers clear it again. Here we go. They're going to take a shot. Oh, it goes wide. Another shot. No goal. Panthers keep it. Can they get another shot? Another block. Not bad for some shot blocks. Especially when the shots are lost. Bennett, here you go. Open net. Goal. Sam Bennett scores! Ending this hockey game 4-0 Kitties. 4-0 Kitties. I have no idea how Tage Thompson kept that puck on his stick. That was disgusting. And then the pass, they set everybody up, but they just could not drain it. Let's look at the stats tonight, everybody. We'll get towards the end of our stream. Looks like we're going to be ending this hockey game with 35-21 shots. Panthers with 35. 4-0. This hockey game ends. 29-19 hits. So not only did the Panthers score all the goals, they put in the physicality, they put in the effort. They wanted this game more, and they came away with the win. Florida Panthers win 4-0. Third goaltender in franchise history to record a shutout in Panthers debut. And then it's Vanacek's first shutout since March 12th, 2023. It's a long time. It's 2 years. But it's a competitive league, and you got to have a good team. 17 blocks by the Sabres compared to the 6 by the Panthers. I mean, let's be honest. The last 2 minutes, I'm pretty sure they got 5 blocks. 3 takeaways apiece and 10 giveaways apiece. So both teams guilty for the same amount of mistakes. Both teams capitalizing on the same amount of opportunities. However, ultimately on the scoreboard, the Panthers come away with a 4-0 win. And that does it for our cast tonight, everybody. This is Week Taken. Thank you so much for coming by tonight. I had a great time talking hockey to every single one of you. I wish to see you all back at the next cast, which will be this following Monday. I'll see you there. Everybody have a good night. See you next time.